Hello everyone! In the previous videos we already covered two of the bot lane combos, that being the marksman and supportive mage and marksman and tank support. In this video we're going to take a look at the last one, that is the utility support and marksman. We'll get in detail about all the strengths and weaknesses of these two, and we'll also discuss their laning phase goals, so let's get started. As we already noted in the first part of this series, utility supports are quite effective against tank supports, since the healing coming from Soraka or Nami will be more than enough to out-heal any trade coming from a hypothetical Alistar. On the other hand, utility supports are vulnerable to the damage output coming from supportive mages. So let's take a look at them. The main advantage of the utility supports is that their kind of gameplay involves less risk than, say, the tanks or mages. You don't have to be a playmaker for your marksman. Your goals here lay in providing the utility, that is, empowering or otherwise buffing your allies. However, this is where their disadvantages start to show. If your carries are bad at what they are doing, you will not be able to carry the match on your own. A utility support on bot lane means a very safe lane for the marksman, as they will provide them with a lot of sustain. This is why the utility supports are mainly used in pairs with early game weak hyper carries. Furthermore, the rest of your team will also benefit from your power-ups quite a lot. Redemption, Ardent Censer, Mikhail's Crucible. Those are the items any utility support would want to buy, as they enable you to take more damage and pay less attention to your positioning and the enemy crowd control before you actually go down. The most popular utility supports at the moment are Nami, Soraka, Lulu, Karma and Sona. 5 champions who remain strong in solo queue regardless of all the nerfs made to the healing, shielding and utility items. The main goals of these 5 are pretty clear and simple. But as always, each of them has their own unique strengths and weaknesses, so let's cover all of them in short detail. Nami, the strongest utility support in the game at the moment. She managed to surf the wave of nerfs as if it was nothing, and has lost the least amount of effectiveness out of all her sisters. Her healing is just as huge as before, and her basic spell damage allows her to keep up with any trades her teammates might initiate. If you really have to choose, Nami will not disappoint you. Soraka. She should be a go-to choice in case Nami gets banned. The nerfs didn't affect her as much either, so she is still quite annoying to play against on bot lane. However, her main powers no longer lay in her constant healing. Instead, she now focuses on poking the enemies with her bananas and also her silence pools, which make it very difficult for tanks and other aggressive champions to make their plays. Lulu, perhaps the most nerfed champion on this list. However, she still remains quite strong. Her hobbies stay the same. She shields and speeds up her marksman all the time, as well as cancels the enemy spellcasting with her polymorph, turning the most dangerous of the assassins into harmless pets. All of that helps Lulu hold her ground, even with all the nerfs made to her shields. And finally, Karma and Sona. The last on our list are beautiful Sona and capable Karma. These two have taken some serious hits from all the patches and changes. However, thanks to the slight buffs and the new item builds, they can find their place in the current meta. And Sona now has a gorgeous Odyssey skin, which is a must-have for any Sona main out there. Okay, now we've got the theory out of the way, that is, we know when to pick our ladies. But now we have some other questions to answer. Understanding the matchup and laning phase power spikes. We'll start from the top of the list, Nami, and we'll go over each champion that follows. Out of all the supports on this list, her laning phase is the smoothest. A very effective heal on her W, an annoying slow on her E, and an overall great ability kit. All of that allows her to make any 2-on-2 setup into something very safe, even being able to be aggressive in some of them too. Her power spikes happen as early as level 2, 4 and level 6 as well. At level 2 Nami gets access to her healing and the movement speed slow on her auto attacks, both of which can be used to win 2-on-2 trades. At level 4, she upgrades her heal to level 2, which gives her even more healing and damage. And well, at level 6 she gets the wave, which she can use to either turn the fight around or at least completely disengage it. So, which marksmen are the best to use with Nami? Well, actually, pretty much any marksman or even hypercarry marksman which uses critical strikes. But the most effective would be Caitlyn, Jinx, Xayah, Kog'Maw and Vayne. Next up we have Soraka. This little star has a very confident laning phase, thanks to how short of a cooldown her Q spell has, and also an ability to restore the health of her marksman. She's somewhat of a lane bully when it comes to utility supports. Her power spikes happen at level 3 and 6. Once she gets access to her ultimate, she can start influencing the outcomes of the fights all over the map, which is an extremely powerful tool and absolutely cannot be neglected. Overall, your goals for the laning phase will be to keep poking the enemies with your Q and E, to get more gold and complete your support quest faster. But whenever you feel threatened, you should fall back behind your carry and protect them for as much as you can. So who suits Soraka the best? Well, anyone who likes to push earlier on and who can benefit from good positioning. Those are primarily Caitlyn, Kai'Sa, Draven and Miss Fortune. Now to Lulu. This fairy still has her laning phase in order thanks to the high damage output on her E and Q spells. However, her shields have really been nerfed, even though your trades will still most likely be successful. Her power spikes happen at levels 3 and 6. Whenever she gets access to her ultimate, she can allow for some all-in engagements, abusing the sheer amount of crowd control and shielding, which will save her carry from getting focused down. And just like with Nami, Lulu will benefit from the critical chance-based hyper carry marksman. But the most effective ones would be Caitlyn, Jinx, Xayah, Kog'Maw, Vayne, Twitch and Sivir. And last but not least, Karma and Sona. Those two aren't as nice and clear as all the girls before them. However, they're still quite good at what they're doing, and can be quite effective against many matchups. So let's talk about each of them. Karma has been considered an excellent support for quite a long time, since she has a very good basic spell damage and also some decent shields, which have a low cooldown and an option to shield the entire team when necessary. Her power spike happens at level 3, and this is exactly when she'd want to start initiating the trades, as she's able to use all of her spells to win them. She doesn't have too many bad matchups, most of which are equal at worst, as in, she will simply have to stay back and let her carry farm. But what else would you want from your lane when you have a utility support by your side? Yep, that's absolutely nothing. So what about Sona? This Maven of Strings is actually a very old champion. Even Gosu Pepper, who is now Edward from Team Gambit, used to play her, which means that this champion has a huge history of her ups and downs. But at the current moment, Sona is actually somewhere in the middle. She's got a huge damage output, a ton of utility, but her main issues lay in her mana costs. Because of the latter, you'll always have to be mindful about your trades and use your power spikes wisely. And those happen at levels 3 and 6, as well as when she buys her first core items. There are very few bad matchups, most of which are supportive mages, but when it comes to battling tanks and other utility supports, Sona starts to shine. You can bundle these two up with any hyper carry who could really use some extra movement speed during the teamfights. Aside from Vayne and Twitch, since those would make your early laning phase just too weak to be of any use. At this point, we'll end this video and summarize this part of the series. The best of the best. We have outlined 5 most powerful utility supports for patch 8.18, and it's these girls: Nami, Soraka, Lulu, Karma and Sona. They are the most effective utility supports at the current moment, and we would recommend that you pick one of them for your own needs. Strength and versatility. Even though these champions are all utility supports, they all have their own specific purposes, which you will have to pick on your own. Someone might like Lulu and her ability to protect and babysit a single champion, while someone likes to go big and wide and pick Soraka to heal everyone at once with her ultimate. And so that's it for today. We hope you found this video interesting and got something new out of it. In the next video, we're going to review the ways to set up the vision perimeter and how to counter ganks, as well as going to review some marksmen you can choose to pair up with our supports. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video and good luck in your solo queue.